Hello grade 4 students, how are you? I hope you are fine. So this is our second online lecture. In this lecture we are going to remember together how do we multiply a number by 100. So at the end of this video you will be able to multiply any number by 100. So what I'm looking for is to be able to multiply, to say or to write the new number that we have made at the end. Now we are going to watch a video. After watching the video we are going to continue our lesson. Pay attention very well to every detail in the video.
Multiplying by 10 times by 10 again and again. We'll start at 1 and add a 0 to the end. 1, 10, 100, 1,000. 10,000, 100,000. Multiplying by 10 times by 10 again and again. We'll start at 2 and add a 0 to the end. 2, 20, 200, 2,000, 20,000, 200,000. Multiplying by 10 is easy to see. Add a 0 to the end and sing along with me. 5, 50, 500, 5,000, 50,000, 500,000. Multiplying by 10 times by 10 again and again. Take a number, add a 0 to the end. To the end.
So now if we multiply any digit by 10, as we watched in the video, you are going to get a 0 to the right. That means it will move into the next column. So if we have 6 in the units, if you multiply the 6 by 10, the 6 will move to the 10th digit and the 0 must be put in the unit digit. Okay, so again, if we have any number, suppose that we have 6. If you multiply the 6 by 10, then the 6 now, it's in the 10th digit. That means we have 0 in the unit. Now what if I'm multiplying by 100? So if I'm multiplying 6 by 100, it will move up to 2 columns to the 100th digit. So the 6 will be in the 100th digit and 2 zeros are going to be one in the tens and the other in the units. Okay, I'm going to take another example. I'm going to put it in green. So suppose we have 8. If I multiply the 8 by 100, it's going to be the 8 in the 100th digit and 2 zeros are going to be one in the tens and the other in the units.
multiply by 10, when you multiply by 100, move each place again, move each place to the left. When you multiply by 10, when you multiply by 100, move each place again, move each place to the left. When you multiply by 10, when you multiply by 100, move each place again, move each place to the left. When you multiply by 10, when you multiply by 100, move each place again, move each place to the left. When you multiply by 10, when you multiply by 100, when you multiply by 100, move each place to the left. When you multiply by 10, when you multiply by 100, when you multiply by 100, when you place to the left. When you multiply by 10, when you multiply by 100, move each place again.
Now, after watching the video, multiplying by 100. The result of multiplying a number by 100 is obtained by adding two zeros to the right of this number. So 9 times 100, it's 900, two zeros at the end. 7 times 100, it's 700, so two zeros to the right. 12 times 100, it's 1200, two zeros to the right. 23 times 100, it's 2300, two zeros to the right. So every time you multiply a number by 100, you are going to get two zeros at the end. So at the end, we can say that what are the multiples of 100? Multiples of 100 are the numbers that have two zeros at the end. So every time you see any number, suppose you have this big number, this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 5, 4, 3. Oh, that's a big number. Every time you have two zeros at the end, that indicates that it's a multiple of 100. So whether it was a small number or a big number, whenever you see two zeros at the end, that means this number is a multiple of 100. So the multiples of 100 are numbers that end with two zeros. And of course, when multiplying by multiples of 100, you can use a pattern. For example, 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 70, it's also 14, but you have one zero. So what do you think 2 times 700? It's the same thing. You put 14 and you put two zeros. So can anyone tell me the pattern for multiplying by multiples of 100? It's very easy. So you just multiply the numbers and you put two zeros. Add the two zeros to the right. So when you multiply by multiples of 100, you can multiply the two facts, then add the two zeros. So now I'm multiplying by multiples of 100, and you know that 700 is a multiple of 100. So what you do is you multiply the two facts. What are the two facts? 2 times 7. You multiply them, then you put the two zeros directly. I'm going to take another example. Suppose you are multiplying 3 times 500. You know that 500 is a multiple of 100. How did we know? Because there is two zeros at the end. So what you are going to do is to multiply the two facts. The two facts are 3 and 5. So what's 3 times 5? It's 15. And then you put the two zeros directly at the end. So it's 1500. So of course, multiplying by a multiple of 100 will give you a multiple of 100. So 1500 itself, it's a multiple of 100 because it has two zeros at the end. So when you multiply a number by a multiple of 100, you multiply the factor by the digit in the hundreds place and add two zeros to the end. So what you do is you multiply those two facts. 8 times 4 is 32. And then you add the 2 zeros at the end. So what's 7 times 600? It's the same concept. You multiply the two facts, 7 and 6, which is 42, and then you add the 2 zeros at the end. So as 600, it's a multiple of 100 because we have 2 zeros at the end. The answer, which is 4,200, it's also a multiple of 100 because it has 2 zeros at the end. So what are the steps to solve? Multiply the two digits, the basic facts, count the number of zeros in the problem, add that many zeros to the answer. So the steps are very easy. You multiply the two facts, 3 and 1. So what's 3 times 1? It's 3. And then you add as much as you have zeros at the end. The same concept. If we have 20 times 400, 20 it's a multiple of 10. 400 it's a multiple of 100. It's very easy. You just multiply 2 times 4, which is 8, and then you add as much as you have zeros. So 1, 2, 3. You put them at the end. I'm going to take another example. Suppose you have 30 times 800. Okay, this is very easy. What we are going to do is to multiply 3 times 8. What's 3 times 8? Those we call them the basic facts. It's 24. And then you add as much as you have zeros. 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 zeros, so we put them at the end. So the answer is 24,000. Okay? So when multiplying by multiples of 100, multiply the number times 1, then add 2 zeros. So if you look at this one, we have 3 times 400. So you just multiply 3 times 4, which is 12, and then you put 2 zeros. So I'm repeating all over again to make things clear for you. So that's the only thing we have in this lecture. So break it down. 3 times 4, 12. Then you add 2 zeros, so you get 1,200. Okay, so it's very easy. You just multiply the basic facts, then you add the zeros. Now we have easy multiplication tricks. If we have 65 times 200, it's very easy. You multiply the 65 times 2, it's 130, and then you add the two zeros that you have at the end, so the answer will be 13,000.
Today we're learning how to multiply by tens, hundreds, and thousands. Let's start by trying to solve the problem 3 times 40. Well, to figure out what this equals, it'll help if we start by splitting up the number 40. We can break 40 into 4 times 10. So now we have the problem 3 times 4 times 10, and we can solve for that. This is easier because we know what 3 times 4 is. 3 times 4 is just 12. And we can multiply 12 times 10, 12 times 10. To figure out what that equals, you just take your 12, put it in the answer, and add 1 0. When you do that, you get an answer of 120. Now this is the way to understand what's happening, but there's a faster way to do all of this. When you're solving a problem like 3 times 40, you can start by just ignoring the 0. Take your 3 and multiply it by 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Then you can see that in your factors, you had 1 0. So just put 1 0 into your answer. It gets us to the same place, 120. Let's look at another example. Here we'll multiply 5 times 300. Well, to figure out what this equals, we can split up 300. 300 is equal to 3 times 100. So our problem is 5 times 3 times 100. Well, this is easy to solve. 5 times 3, that's a number fact, it's just 15. And 15 times 100, well, we can do that because it equals just the 15 with 2 zeros. Our answer is 1,500. Now remember, there's a faster way to do this. When you're multiplying by something like 300, just ignore the zeros. Take your 5, multiply it by 3 to get 15. Then you see that there's 2 zeros in your factors, so put 2 zeros into your answer. Your answer is 1,500. Let's look at one more, just doing it the fast way. If we're trying to multiply 6 times 5,000, well, we could do this by just doing 6 multiplied by 5. 6 times 5 is 30, and then we have to add our 3 zeros. Our answer is 30,000. Now let's do some of these together. Let's multiply 4 times 600. Well, we can start by doing 4 times 6. What does that equal? 4 times 6 is 24. And then how many zeros should I add? Well, we can see the 2 zeros in our factors, so we put 2 zeros in our answer. Let's look at another. 3 times 90. Well, what should I do first here? First, I do the 3 times 9. 3 times 9 is 27. And how many zeros should I add? There's only 1 zero, so I just add that 1 zero. One more. Let's look at 11 times 5,000. What should I do first? First, I do 11 times 5. What does that equal? 11 times 5 is 55. And then I'll add 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. Now it's time for you to try on your own. Multiply 12 times 300. What does it equal? Well, 12 times 3 is 36. Then you add 2 zeros. 1, 2. The answer is 3,600. Next, what does 5 times 4,000 equal? Well, 5 times 4 will give you 20. And then you add your 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. 20,000. Next, what does 4 times 700 equal? Well, you take your 4 and multiply by 7. 4 times 7 is 28, and then you add 2 zeros. 1, 2. 2,800. Let's look at a few more. 2 times 400. What does it equal? Well, 2 times 4, that's 8, and then we add 2 zeros. 800. Let's look at 7 times 50. What does that equal? Well, 7 times 5 is 35, and then we add 1 zero. 350. And here's your last one. 5 times 5,000. What does it equal? Well, 5 times 5 is 25, and then you add 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. The answer is 25,000. So from today, remember, when you're multiplying by tens, hundreds, and thousands, ignore the zeros and multiply the other numbers to start. Then all you need to do is add in the zeros at the end.